and I went to the transplant team in San Diego. And these people were such a breath of fresh air. They had so many good things to say about transplant. I mean, they made it sound worthwhile for the first time in my life. I'd never even heard, what they had to say is nothing I've ever even heard before. And over the last 8 years, the medical advancements were tremendous, where they don't even, crack your sternum anymore. They cut you on the side, and it's real simple. The surgery's not as long. The recovery time is not as long. And hey, you can have a great life. You can have a great quality of life. And I knew right then, from that first appointment, that this is where I need to be, and this is right. Still with the fear of, I'm not sure about this, and still with the fear of, if I have this done, I might not live. So I went through the evaluation process. It took 6 months. And like I said, those long appointments from, 7 in the morning to 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I did multiple, days like that throughout the 6 months course. And when you get qualified to be on a transplant list, you have to do everything. I mean, there's so many tedious things that go on top of DNA match, everything. They made me get my wisdom teeth pulled. I don't know, just my haircut and things like that. Yeah, it's just they kind of make sure that whoever they give, these organs to, that's a perfect match, and you're not gonna, die on their table and stuff. So I went through that process. It took 6 months, and I was in the hospital on June 1st, 2010, and I get a phone call, and I answer my phone, and I'm like, hello, and hi, Mr. Livingston? Yes? We just listed you. I'm like, okay, what do I do? Oh, nothing, just wait for us to call you later. I don't know about this lady, but I don't call people and tell them that I just put them on an organ list. She seemed really nonchalant about it, but so I'm like, okay, and I hung up the phone, and right then I just prayed. God, I'm giving you this fear. I'm casting it into your hands. My life is no longer in my control. At any given time, you have the choice that I get this phone call that I have to stop everything I'm doing, and I have to go, and I have to have the surgery. And I'm giving you full control. And God, when this happens, please let it be perfect. Let everything go smoothly. I don't want to worry. I don't want to fear. I just want everything to flow, and I want things to just go right. And I'm tired of holding on to this. And Lord, also, be with the family whose donor is gonna cost somebody's life to save mine. And I pray that they would be ready and prepared for when my time comes and his time comes, that both of us, will be ready. And I haven't taken it lightly that it did take somebody's life here on earth to die for me, and because of this person, I'm here today. This is why I'm standing. And so I prayed that over and over again. And I also thought about, our lives are really not in our control. We're fragile people. At any given moment, you have no idea what can happen to you. And I thought about it, I said, I was like, what if God were to call you? What if God was ready to call you and take you home? It's would you be ready for that? Because when I get my call, I have to be ready to drop everything I'm doing, no matter where I am, and go and put my life on the line. Well, would you? But here tonight, does anybody have that security that if God were to call you, you can say, yes, I'm ready. I'm okay with that. And, that really spoke to me. Well, 2010 continued in June, July, and then August I was back in the hospital. Get the theme? Anyway, it was on August 30th at 2:42 p.m. I got a call and it said, "We have lungs for you." And I said, "Yes." And I called my mom, I called my family, and within a couple hours, there was like 35 people in the lobby at the hospital in San Diego. And I can't explain, and I can't even tell you, that the fear I had was just taken off. It was gone. And I was joking with my family. I was really just enjoying the visits with them. And we waited for several hours, and on August 31st, at 12:30 a.m., the nurse came out. She said, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's get this over with, let's do it." And I gave everybody a hug. I just, "See you guys later." I took a walk, just walking down the hall, fist bumped one of my friends, like, ready to go. And this is, like, I know that when I wake up, I know I'm gonna live. I can't explain the amount of peace and comfort I had, and I felt that God was right here, next to me, and He was walking me to the operating room. And I laid down on the table, and they started hooking me up to IVs and all kinds of stuff. And the guy says, "Well, the surgery still couldn't happen because we have to make sure the lungs are, healthy." I was like, "Oh yeah, I know that." And the phone rings in the OR, he picks it up, and, "Hello, okay, whatever." And then hangs up. He says, "All right, we're good to go." I said, "Does that mean the lungs are good?" He says, "Yes." The last thing I said, I was like, "Here we go." And they knocked me out. The surgery was 8 hours long. And during the surgery, about halfway through, my aunt, she had a dream. And this dream has really been something I talk about a lot because it's very awesome. She had this dream where this boy, he was a runner, like he ran track or something. He was up in heaven holding like a torch or the baton to a race, and he was just up in the sky, not into heaven yet. But when I walked up to him, he handed it off to me, and I took it from his hand, like he was in his race. He had finished it, and now it's time for me to run mine. And whether it's a baton or torch, I like the torch because it's the fire. I believe that God has given me a fire to light up the world, to share what the power of God can really do. Like, if we have Christ, we have the light in us. And I woke up. I went to surgery on a Monday. I woke up on a Wednesday. I had my breathing tube pulled out in 24 hours, which was unexpected, fast. I recovered quickly. I was only there for 2 weeks. I was only in the recovery, like Ronald McDonald House sort of thing, for a month and a half. And I was home, and in 2010 was the first year I spent Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's with my whole family. Because all the other years I had at least missed one of those. And I had a new life. I had freedom. I was free. And I remember thinking, just when I woke up from surgery, whoa, I get it. I get what Jesus did. It took somebody's son on this earth to die for me so that I can live. Like someone's child, someone's son, really died, and I have their lungs, and I'm breathing with the gift that God has just given me. And I think about, like, Jesus died on the cross. Like, God gave His only Son. Like, He gave His Son for us. And we don't have to suffer. We don't have to fight the fight alone. We can do it with His strength. And He allows us to have that. And it was a total eye-opener to me, like I get it. Someone, he died. Like, he suffered. Anyway, I went home and started enjoying life again. For the first time I could run. First time I could climb a flight of stairs and not be winded. I could just do whatever I felt like I could do. Like, I've never been able to do certain things. And I had like a whole new life. And it's like, now that I'm breathing, now I can breathe on my own. But really, before, and even today, I still think I'm still breathing by faith. Because I don't know when my time is, and neither do you. And I just had this like overwhelming amount of joy. And I thank God all the time for what He's given me. He's given me a brand new life. And what I like is the number 8 in the Bible. It means new beginning. And from the time I was told I needed a transplant to the time I had it done was 8 years. And God gave me that new beginning, a new life. Anyway, so I decided, okay, well, now that I have a life and I can live, what am I going to do? What should I do? And I worked at a couple places. I did some work with KSGN Radio, which is really cool, and I was able to share my testimony of what God has done for me on the radio and through like magazines and postcards and whatever. And the doors were opening for. I'm like, I know I've been called to live and tell a story of what the power of God can do in someone's life. And I decided in 2013, last year, I was like, I want to go to Calvary Chapel Bible College, and I want to study, and I want to become like an evangelist. I want to know more. So I enrolled in school, and just the day before school started, I got sick. I was in the hospital. I was put in the ICU. I was given like 100 milligrams of Benadryl because I reacted to some medication, and a shot of adrenaline in my leg, and my body was like going haywire. And anyway, I was like, great. My school starts tomorrow, and I'm in the ICU. I went home that night, in class the next day. Like, God, He knew what was up, Anyway, so I was at school with my brother Davey, and we were there I was there for 3 weeks, and on September 27th, I kind of got sick. My stomach kind of hurt, and I was like, hey Davey, my stomach kind of hurts. I think maybe we should go to San Diego, and I just want to get it checked out. I don't think it's a big deal, but I was getting good grades, and I just want to make sure I'm on top of my health, and everything's okay. I was like, all right. So we go down. I call my mom on the way. I was like, hey mom, kind of sick. I'm gonna go to the hospital. I'll be back in school on Monday. Not a big deal. Let you know what's going on. So I go to the ER with Davey. It's like, hey Davey, can you get my backpack out of the car? I forgot it. It has my books in it. I just want to do my studies while I'm here. I don't want to get behind. He's like, okay, And he brought it back. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go. I'm like, okay, see you later, Davey. He's like, bye. I'm like, hey, wait. I love you. He's like, I love you too. That's the last thing I remember. And I wake up a month later. I was tied into a bed, and I opened my eyes, and I had no idea what just happened to me. And I was tied down with these restraints in a bed, and I was shaking. And I saw my mom and aunt walk in, and they were like, Benny, talk to us. What happened? Tell us something. Speak to us. People are praying for you. Let them know that you have something to say. Like, can you write? Can you say a word? What happened was, I got admitted into the hospital on September 27th. I had a bowel surgery, emergency. And when they operated on me, the trauma to my stomach caused my transplant lungs to reject my body. I went to respiratory failure. I was on life support. I was in a coma for a month. And I had no idea what just happened. While I was in my coma, a lot of things transpired. A lot of you were praying for me. I was there, and I was really sick. I had 5 different lung infections, one of them being a lung infection called aspergillus, and 50% of regular people don't live through that. And I caught that one with pneumonia and all kinds of other things. And there was a day, I believe this is from what I had to be told on a Wednesday, somewhere in the time of the month of October, I think, where my mom and grandma came to visit me. And there I am. I'm out. I'm not breathing. I'm on a ventilator. Machines are doing all the work. And I was gonna die. That was the bottom line. I was sick. I had a 10% chance of living. And I was not gonna live. And my mom, she looked at me, and on the surface it was like, no, there's no way. There's no way he can recover from this. And I guess on the way back home, the question was asked, well, do you think he'll make it? Yes. It's like, yes, he's going to live, but I don't see it happening. What I just saw is, no, he's not. But what I feel inside is yes. And my mom, she says she went down to the park, and she cried out to God. She begged God for my life. She said, God, give him more years. Like Hezekiah. Hezekiah was told by the prophet Isaiah that he needed to get his house in order because he was going to die. The Lord said, your time is up. You're going to die. You will not live. And my mom prayed, Lord, give him more years. Like Hezekiah. And what happened was, when Isaiah was leaving the town, the Lord spoke to Isaiah while Hezekiah was praying to God. He said, God, I've been faithful. I've been a servant to you. I trust you. Heal me. Spare my life. He cried against the wall, and he wept bitterly. And he begged God for more years. And God spoke to Isaiah, and he said, go back and tell Hezekiah that he is going to live, and I will give him 15 more years. And I looked up what the number 15 means, and it means divine grace, where God, in his divine grace, changes his mind and gives you even more grace than what you even deserve. And I believe that without that heart that my mom had, and without that prayer, I don't know if I'd be here today. And I don't know if I'd be here today without all you guys who've been praying for me for the last 6 months. This college group has been such a good support to me. If you notice, some people wearing shirts that says, I love Benny. They were there. And I thank every one of you for doing just your part. And anyway, The day my mom prayed that, the next day, I started showing signs of improvement. My eyes were kind of moving. Just, little bits and bits of healing, slowly and slowly. And when I woke up, that's when I saw my mom and my aunt, and I was confused. I didn't know what was going on. And they gave me a pen. I could barely hold the pen, and they stuck it in my hand and said, write a word. So I wrote Hollywood. I read the post later, people went nuts. What does it mean? And if I get to talk to them, they're like, nothing. And, yeah, my mom's name is Holly, and I like movies, Hollywood, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so I started recovering, and I got better and better. And one day, I remember, my brother, Joseph, he came to visit me, and, I love wearing my rainbows. And he's like, hey, you've been in here for 2 months and you still have your rainbow tan. And I'm like, oh yeah. Anyway, but what the prayers of my family was, there was different prayers that went out. And one of my mom was just prayed, one more time. I just want to see Benny in a pair of jeans and some flip-flops. Just one more time. So Mom, it's for you. Anyway, my brother Tommy, one more time. I just want to watch a movie with him and just make fun of it. And we did. And God heard our cries. He hears, and He listens, and He answers. When we call, He answers. I called, and He answered. When I was in the hospital recovering, there were so many nights where I was afraid and I didn't know what was going to happen. And there was even a couple nights where I felt like if I was going to fall asleep, I wasn't going to wake up. And I was slipping away in my sleep. And I prayed to God, I want to live. Spare my life. I want to speak to people. I want to speak truth into people's lives. I want people to know that you are a God of healing and of power, and I trust that in your name I can do this again. And I can stand before a crowd of people and say Jesus Christ is the Son of God and the living God. And there was a day where I was so frustrated. I prayed, God, I need a messenger right now. I need an angel. I need somebody to come into my life and bring me encouragement, bring me a word of peace. And the next day, I was down in the lobby with all my brothers and my mom, and I was like, hey, I read this story. I read Jesus turning water into wine. And I found out how many gallons of wine it was, and it was kind of cool, and I was sharing it. And this guy sitting at a table over here, he gets up, walks over, he's like, hey, you talking about Jesus? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I love Jesus. He's like, I want to tell you a miracle I saw in my life. This guy starts talking, right? I didn't say a word to this guy. He starts opening up to us, and he's like, it's no joke, he says this. I've seen people get healed who've had lung transplants. I've seen people get healed who've had stomach surgeries. I've seen people get healed with this and that. And I'm like, hey, that's me. And me and my mom were looking at each other like, what? This guy? Who is this guy? And I told him, you know what? I prayed for you last night that God would send somebody into my life and speak truth and just give me hope and peace. And this guy was awesome. You don't meet people like this guy every day. His name was Landon. And he was on fire for the Lord. He was not afraid to shout Jesus in the lobby with people around. And he comes up to me, he puts his hand on me, he's like, you are healed in the name of Jesus. This guy's faith was just awesome. He's like, I've seen it in my life, I've seen it in others' lives, and he's like, I have full faith that you will walk out of this hospital, and you will live, and you will be strong, and you will preach, and you will speak truth into other people's lives. He's like, you are healed. That guy, I don't know where he is now, but it was my answer to my prayer. And anyways, I did go home, but before I went home, I had to go to a rehab center to make sure I could climb a flight of stairs by myself or something. You know, make sure I'm okay to be at home and do things on my own again. And I was in the hospital for a total of like 4.5 months. Pretty ridiculous. And